Reshape wearable technology competition. Ciao Anastasia.
Ciao Aldo, how are you?
Fine, fine. Anastasia is also manager of the Fab Lab Barcelona and is the director of Fab Textile program and many other things. Anastasia, thank you for accepting our invitation and thank you for this interview.
Thank you a lot for organizing this very nice competition. It is very important, I think, to have initiatives like that. And thank you for inviting me to the jury.
You are welcome. You are more than welcome in our jury. So let's start with the questions. In recent years, we have been spectators of incessant growth of Fab Labs all over the world. Which role Fab Labs will have in the future of society?
Well, I think that this is a quite big issue and a big theme. I'm not sure that I would come up to answer perfectly this question. Of course, there is a lot of research in the terms of anthropology and sociology being conducted every day in the Fab Lab environment. Apart from the innovation, the technology, there is also like the part where we investigate what is the impact that the Fab Lab will have in the society. For me, I can describe it as my everyday life and the practices that I try to adopt through the Fab Lab, which is not changing the way we approach a problem and we approach technology, having digital fabrication and the means serving our needs, the everyday needs. So, for example, I think that rethinking consumption is going to be a very important thing that the Fab Lab role will change, like rethinking the way we consume. And also, like another thing would be the fact that inside the Fab Lab we are able to see some kind of incubation of innovation and incubation of new projects, new technology, new point of view. And in more accelerated matter, the fact that we have more and more companies now that they are used to have a line of production that doesn't permit them to have research and development. And these days we have more and more companies that they come back and they really need the research and development and they can find it inside the Fab Lab environment. This is quite important to see the change that is happening in society. So of course there are so many other things, but I would sum up to these two.
Well, yeah, it makes absolutely sense. Also, you have been involved in a project, no, that started in a Fab Lab and then became a worldwide success on wearable. I mean, you can say 2 words about it. Now, how was your experience to develop this project in the Fab Lab?
It was. It's an amazing experience. Most of the people think that doing a startup or making like a big successful project or like founding a company without a big investment is something that is outside of the reality. But nowadays we have small groups and small initiatives that make big projects, and they are being accelerated or they are being like incubated, and with the help of the Fab Lab they can go very faster to having a final product and not need so much the investment. But also the most important thing when you are like, for example, in the case of First Vision, which is the company that started working with us in the Fab Lab, and then I continue with them as an expert in technology. The most important thing is that you see that the people really have the vision and really believe, and they're willing to fight for it. And even if the conditions, they are not as they should be, because you don't have a big investor, or because you have difficulties because technology is very high end and you cannot reach it so fast, people keep, when people have the vision and they keep working on it, they will have success anyways, I believe. This is what happens with First Vision now.
Exactly. That was also a multidisciplinary team that, you know, the Fab Lab basically make, let's say, grouped, no? So,
like I said, technological partner, also like people that were doing the Fab Academy here in the Fab Lab, they started working at First Vision, also like good opportunities for job inside the Fab Lab. Yeah.
Let's go to the second question. Fashion has always been exposed to constant changes and transformations. How aesthetic will be affected by digital fabrication? Or, like we were discussing before, how digital fabrication is affecting aesthetics? How you see these things going on?
Well, I mean, like, this is a question about fashion and aesthetics, but fashion is, it's like the fast fashion, the market that changes most rapidly nowadays. And the aesthetics, they are like, we are constantly being exposed to new aesthetics that we have to digest, and the fashion is like very, very fast. And the thing is that, of course, we already have the examples of like the Zaha Hadid shoes, or 3S4 Studio of New York, that they are doing amazing things with digital fabrication, and they are writing like somehow the aesthetics of the era. But also, I think that the digital fabrication, the personal digital fabrication, will change the way that we change our aesthetics, and we do not have this model of fast fashion anymore, that it is only a catwalk and then complete production, and then in 2 months you have a different one. I think that if we have like a more, if we can make our own fashion, and if we have the technology and tools, we can create our own aesthetics. So I think that fashion will be a lot more personal, and a lot more individual. Everybody will be able to have his own statement about fashion. This would be nice if it would happen. I'm not sure.
Well, it's possible in any case.
Yeah.
And it's really related to these new technologies, as you said. So, going on, many achievements of digital fabrication are coming from young people, looking at all problems with a new point of view. How does education affect this cultural and technological shift in young generations?
Education is the most important part, actually. The project of Fab Textiles, it started as a question to the actual educational system of the fashion schools, that they don't have digital fabrication and digital tools integrated into the program. And I think that this is the most important part. The students that they come, the fashion students that they come into the Fab Lab nowadays, because we have done continuously workshops, and we have done experimentation, more freestyle, let's say, experimentation, without having to lead directly to a product or something like pure investigation. The students that they come into the Fab Lab, and they are from fashion, they express their need to use this technology. And when the school doesn't provide with these tools, there is a big gap, because there is a demand by the people that they are being educated to have this kind of access to these tools, and all the educational systems should adapt to this need, I think.
Super clear. And also, talking about education, apart from the Fab Lab and the IAC, you also collaborate with BAU, that is the Centro Universitario de Diseño de Barcelona. And there, basically, you provide, tell us about this collaboration, because it's kind of merging traditional school with all the knowledge and expertise the Fab Lab provides.
We collaborated with BAU for some time. Now I had some other collaborations in Santiago de Chile or in Colombia, in the University of Colombia. And of course, we would say that it is absolutely the saying of Neil Gershenfeld that says that the 3D printing, for example, is like the microwave of the 50s. It came to the kitchen, but it didn't substitute all the traditional cooking. And we would say this in general about digital fabrication and mainly in fashion, that of course we are not saying that the tools will change all the traditional way in terms of production, in terms of being into the market and making like a real fashion line and having the real production. The digital fabrication is not so well integrated in the moment, so it is a lot more meaningful to have the digital fabrication in the educational part for the moment. And of course, combining it with all the traditional.
Exactly.
Yes, we did a project where we recover traditional techniques of making suitcases, and this is a technique that they do not use nowadays because it's not efficient in terms of production. And we changed it to digital fabricated mold for making suitcases. So we recovered in a way an old technique and we transform it through the digital fabrication. So the technique also is not being lost. This is quite interesting as an example.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it's also a very nice experience that you are doing. So moving to the last question, as you know, basically it's the same question for everyone that every juror has been asked the same question. So one of the biggest challenges of Reshape is the relation between the restricted rules of the market and the freedom every researcher needs to succeed in his task. Is it possible to merge and balance these two realities, translating those differences in an added value?
Well, it would be utopic. It would be very nice to be able to feed both needs, the market and the dream. But then here it makes more sense if I respond from my experience with the first vision, which is this wearable technology startup that in 2 years' time has made many advances in a very short time. And what we understand is that, sorry, somebody's talking.
Don't worry.
You have to make some discounts, of course, if you want to adapt to the market. For example, it is sometimes the multidisciplinary team is the most important thing to go on to the market, because somebody that is from communication can understand the gravity, the weight that you have to expose yourself, for example, and one that is an electrical engineer that has to make, or he's like a programmer, he would never understand this need of the market. So I think that combining a multidisciplinary team, you are able to live in the market even if you're continuing with your dream.
Basically, the multidisciplinarity can be an answer in order to generate this competitive project from the Fab Lab to the market.
Exactly. It wouldn't be possible if it was a creative and only a creative person, or a maker, and having to do thousands of numbers in order to understand how he should proceed in terms of like, I don't have so much investment, I'm a small startup, I have partners that they collaborate together, but where do I have to put the priority? So if you don't have a multidisciplinary team and you cannot see exactly in order to go and fly out in the market, which are the steps that you have to do, then you cannot proceed only with your dream, I think.
Okay, clear. Perfect. Anastasia, that was the last question for the interview.
Okay.
It was very interesting, I have to say. But I was very lucky to see your speech in the YAC alumni meeting. And probably let's see if we can also have another kind of format where you can also present your project. But apart from this, I want to thank you as a coordinator of Reshape for this interview, and looking forward to send you all the projects in order to start the evaluation process.
And of course, it would be very nice to count with the Reshape exhibition, with the Reshape competition exhibiting this year. We can organize that the winners of the competition can exhibit their pieces.
In
very nice.
In the Fab 11, you mean?
Yeah, it would be very nice.
Let's try.
Let's try. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Anastasia.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you soon.